You've worked hard your entire life. You've raised children, survived setbacks, built something from nothing, and now at this stage you deserve to feel at ease. But if most days still feel heavy, exhausting, or lonely, the problem probably isn't your age, it isn't your health, and it definitely isn't your circumstances. The problem is a handful of quiet habits that are silently chipping away at your peace. Habits most people never think to question because they've been doing them for decades. Today I want to walk you through 7 of them, and I'll warn you now, number 5 is the one that catches almost everyone off guard. Most people consider it a virtue, but after 60, it becomes one of the heaviest burdens you'll ever carry. Let's get into it. Habit number 1, carrying worries that were never yours to carry. There's a difference between caring about someone and carrying their weight for them. After 60, many people blur that line, and it costs them everything. I think about a man I'll call Thomas. 73 years old, retired, reasonably healthy, but he hadn't slept well in years. Every night he'd lie awake running through the same mental checklist. His daughter's struggling marriage, his son's financial decisions, his grandchildren's screen time, on and on, night after night. When we spoke, I asked him one question. Of all the things you worried about last year, how many did your worrying actually fix? He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, none of them. That's the truth about worry most people never sit with long enough to absorb. Worry doesn't protect the people you love. It doesn't prevent bad things from happening. What it does do, reliably, consistently, is steal your sleep, tighten your chest, and age you faster than time itself. The people you love need something far more valuable from you than anxiety. They need to see you living calmly, taking care of yourself, and trusting that they're capable of handling their own lives. That calm presence is a gift no amount of worrying could ever give them. Let the worry go, not because you don't care, but because you do. Before we continue, take a second to hit the like button so more people can find this. And drop your location in the comments. I always love seeing where everyone's watching from. Now let's continue. Habit number 2, fighting to win arguments that don't matter. Here's something nobody tells you about being right. It rarely feels as good as you think it will. After decades of life experience, it's natural to feel confident in your opinions. You've seen things. You've lived through things. But there's a version of that confidence that quietly turns into a need to correct everyone around you. Family members, old friends, even strangers online. And every time you win one of those arguments, you often lose something far more valuable. I spoke once with a woman named Carol, 66 years old, who had grown increasingly distant from her adult son. She couldn't understand why their calls had gotten shorter and shorter over the years. Then one afternoon, she listened back to a voicemail she'd left him and heard herself correcting something he'd said about 3 different times in under 2 minutes. I sounded exhausting, she told me. I sounded like someone who needed to be right more than I needed to be close to him. That realization changed everything. She stopped correcting. She started listening. And within months, the calls got longer again. Here's the wisdom. You can be right or you can be close. You can win the argument or you can keep the relationship. After 60, the people still standing beside you are the treasure. Protect them, not your ego. Habit number 3, shrinking your own life to expand theirs. This one runs deep, especially for parents. You spent 30, 40, maybe 50 years putting your children first. That was beautiful. That was necessary. But at some point, that chapter ends, and a new one needs to begin. The mistake too many people make after 60 is refusing to turn the page. They keep inserting themselves into their adult children's decisions. They keep rearranging their own schedules around their grandchildren's needs. They keep making themselves available at all hours, for everyone, at the cost of their own health and joy. And the quiet tragedy? The children often don't ask for it. They don't need it. And over time, they begin to feel smothered by it, even if they love you deeply. A man I know named Walter, 71 years old, spent 3 years watching his grandchildren 5 days a week while his son and daughter-in-law worked. He was exhausted. His knees ached. He'd given up a pottery class he loved and stopped seeing his old friends. When his son finally noticed and asked if it was too much, Walter broke down. Not from gratitude, but from relief that someone had finally seen what he'd been too afraid to say. He now watches the grandchildren 2 afternoons a week. He's back, in his pottery class, and he's happier, which he told me has made him a far better grandfather than the burned-out version ever was. Your happiness is not a luxury, it's a model. Show the people you love what it looks like to live joyfully. That is the greatest thing you can give them now. Habit number 4, telling everyone your business. Not everyone who listens with a sympathetic ear is actually on your side. This is a truth most people learn the hard way, often more than once. After 60, your life holds a lot of weight. Your finances, your health concerns, your family tensions, your personal decisions about property or inheritance. And when stress builds up, it's natural to want to release some of it by talking. But here's what too many people discover too late. Not everyone in your circle deserves access to that information. Some people collect your vulnerabilities not to support you, but to use them later, or simply to pass along to others. A woman I'll call Miriam, 72 years old, confided in a neighbor she'd known for years about a disagreement she was having with her daughter over a family inheritance. Within a week, 3 other neighbors had opinions about it. 2 relatives she barely spoke to had called, and her daughter had found out, not from Miriam, but from someone else entirely. I felt exposed, Miriam told me, like my private life had been handed over without my permission. Your peace is yours to protect. You don't owe anyone the details of your finances, your family dynamics, or your medical history. A small circle of people you truly trust is worth infinitely more than a wide circle of people who simply know a lot about you. Guard your inner life. Silence, chosen wisely, is its own kind of power. Habit number 5, helping people at the expense of yourself. This is the one most people push back on, because helping feels good. Helping feels right. Helping is, we're told from childhood, one of the finest things a person can do. And it is when it comes from a place of genuine joy and capacity. But after 60, something shifts. Your energy is no longer limitless. Your body needs more rest. Your reserves, physical, emotional, financial, require more careful tending. And yet, for many people, the helping never slows down. They're still lending money to family members who don't pay it back. Still running errands for neighbors who take it for granted. Still saying yes to every request, every favor, every call for help, while quietly running on empty. A retired nurse named Dorothy, 75, described it to me this way. I spent 40 years taking care of strangers at work. Then I'd go home and take care of everyone there too. When I retired, I thought things would change. But the requests just got louder, and I kept saying yes because I didn't know how to say anything else. Then Dorothy had a health scare, and for 2 weeks while she recovered, not a single one of the people she regularly helped came to check on her. Not one. That moment of clarity, painful as it was, became the turning point. She began saying no, not with guilt, not with long explanations, just, I can't do that right now. And here's what she found. The people who truly valued her didn't leave. They respected it. Some even said they'd been worried about how much she was taking on. You are not obligated to exhaust yourself for others. Helping from a place of overflow is generous. Helping from a place of depletion is self-destruction, wearing a kind face. Know the difference. Honor it. Habit number 6, measuring your life against someone else's. There's a quiet poison that lives in comparison, and it gets more potent with age. After 60, it tends to sound like this. My neighbor's children visit every weekend. Mine barely call. Or, she seems so healthy and energetic. Why do I feel so worn down? Or, he traveled the world in retirement. I never got the chance. What makes comparison so dangerous isn't just that it's unfair. It's that it's always built on incomplete information. You're looking at the surface of someone else's life and comparing it to the full interior of your own. You see their highlights. You feel your struggles. It will never be a fair comparison. The neighbor whose children visit every weekend, she confided to her doctor that she feels trapped, like she has no independence. The woman who seems so healthy, she cried herself to sleep last Tuesday over something you'll never know about. The man who traveled the world, he'll tell you, if you ask honestly, that the traveling was often a way to avoid sitting still with his own thoughts. No one's life is what it looks like from the outside. What you have, your specific memories, your particular brand of wisdom, the exact people who love you, is not lesser than anyone else's. It is simply yours, and it is enough. Gratitude and comparison cannot exist in the same moment. Choose gratitude. Deliberately, daily, stubbornly, choose it. Habit. Number 7, postponing your own happiness. This is perhaps the quietest mistake of all, because it doesn't feel like a mistake. It feels like patience. It feels like humility. It feels like not asking too much. But here's the truth. If you are waiting for some future condition to be met before you allow yourself to be happy, that condition will never arrive. There will always be another reason to wait. I think of a retired school teacher named Agnes, 77 years old, who had always wanted to learn watercolor painting. She'd wanted to for decades, but there was always something in the way. The children were young, then work was busy, then her husband needed care. Then she didn't want to spend the money. Then she told herself she was probably too old to pick up something new. A friend finally signed her up for a class without asking. Agnes was furious. Then she went, and then she went back, and back again. "I wasted 30 years of wanting this," she told her friend afterward. "Not because I couldn't have it, because I kept deciding I didn't deserve it yet." You deserve your happiness now, not after the grandchildren are settled, not once your health improves, not when someone else gives you permission. Now. Your joy doesn't have to be grand. It can be a morning walk on a quiet street, a phone call with someone who makes you laugh, a book you've been meaning to read for years, a class, a garden, a recipe, a song. Do the thing that makes you feel alive. The years between now and 80 are not a waiting room. They are a life, yours fully and completely to live. Final thoughts. 7 habits. 7 quiet ways that peace gets drained long before it should. Let go of worries that belong to someone else. Stop fighting battles that cost you more than they're worth. Make room in your own life for yourself. Guard your private world carefully. Help from strength, not obligation. Stop measuring your life against lives you only half understand. And for the love of everything you've worked for, stop postponing your own happiness. You have already earned the right to live well, not perfectly, not dramatically, just peacefully, joyfully, and fully present in the days you have. Age doesn't diminish you. Every year you've lived has added something. Scar tissue that became wisdom, storms that became stories, losses that became perspective. That's not decline. That's depth. And depth is a beautiful thing. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Tell me, which of these 7 habits hit closest to home? And what's one small change you're going to make this week? If you found value in this video, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. And if you're not subscribed yet, now's a great time. We put out new content every week designed to help you live this chapter of life with intention and peace. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one.